The phone rings at 2 in the morning, and the voice on the other end tells you your mom just took a bad fall. She is okay for now, but she can't live alone anymore. You're sitting at your kitchen table a week later, staring at a glossy brochure from a nursing home. The price listed inside makes your chest tight. $8,000 a month. You keep hearing a terrifying rumor from your coworkers, a rumor that says if your mom runs out of money, the nursing home can just take her house. You're panicking, imagining a corporate eviction team changing the locks on the home she has lived in for 40 years. Take a deep breath. The rumor is mostly wrong, but the real truth is complicated. You need to know exactly how this machine works before you sign anything. This is education about the general rules, not legal advice for your specific situation, because the exact numbers and rules shift depending on where you live. Let's look at a real example to see how this actually plays out. Imagine a guy named Tom. Tom's mom, Linda, had a stroke. Linda recovered, but she needed round-the-clock care. She moved into a local nursing home. The facility cost $9,000 a month. Linda's only income was a small Social Security check. She had exactly $12,000 saved in the bank. And she owned her home, a modest house worth about $150,000. She didn't have a mortgage anymore. She owned it free and clear. For the first few months, Tom used Linda's small savings to pay the facility. When that bank account hit zero, Tom called the nursing home billing department in a panic. He told them his mom was broke. The billing clerk didn't threaten to kick Linda out onto the street. The clerk didn't threaten to call the police. Instead, the clerk asked if Linda owned any real estate. Tom confirmed she owned her house. The clerk said they would enroll Linda in the state medical assistance program. This is a program that steps in to pay the nursing home bill when a regular person runs out of money. Tom felt huge relief. The state would pay the $9,000 a month. But the clerk also handed Tom a thick packet of paperwork. She explained there was a catch. The state medical assistance program doesn't just give you free money. It acts more like a massive loan. The state will pay the nursing home bills right now, today, but they expect to be paid back eventually. They expect to be paid back after Linda passes away. This brings us to a legal term you need to understand. The term is estate recovery. Estate recovery is a process where the government demands to be paid back for the nursing home care they funded. They make this demand from your estate. Your estate is just a legal word for all the property, money, and belongings you leave behind when you die. When a regular person passes away, their estate goes through a court process called probate. Probate is just the official court system for gathering up a deceased person's assets, paying off their final debts, and handing out whatever is left to their children. Because of how this system works, the state doesn't swoop in and take the house while Linda is still alive. They don't put a lockbox on her front door. She doesn't get evicted. The nursing home wants the state to keep paying the bill, so they actually want Linda to stay comfortable and alive in that bed. The state wants her to stay there too. The billing department is perfectly happy. So, where does the house come into play? The house sits there, empty. That's 5 years. If the state catches you transferring a house to your kids for $0 within that 5-year window, they hit you with a massive penalty. They don't throw you in jail, and they don't charge you with a crime. They just stop paying the nursing home bill. If the state calculates that giving away a $150,000 house equates to 5 months of nursing home care, they'll refuse to pay the medical assistance program for 5 full months. The nursing home will still expect their $9,000 a month. Since Linda has no money and no house anymore because Tom took it, the family is suddenly on the hook for $45,000 in cash. They have to pay it out of their own pockets before the state will ever step back in. You can see why playing games with the deed is incredibly dangerous without a lawyer holding your hand. You might be wondering why you can't just get a standard estate planning document to fix this. Many people buy a transfer on death deed. A transfer on death deed is a special piece of paper that automatically hands your house to your kids the second you pass away, letting it skip the probate court entirely. People buy these thinking they're safe. They think the state will never see the house because it skips probate. This trick fails. The state medical assistance program specifically wrote their laws to close that loophole. They explicitly define estate recovery to include any property that would have been in your probate estate, even if you used a clever deed to pass it outside of court. If you own a house when you die, and the state paid your nursing home bills, they'll claw their money out of that property one way or another. The only real protection is planning ahead years in advance, using tools that are far too complex for a simple video, or relying on the strict exceptions for spouses and disabled dependents. You need to know when to pick up the phone and call a professional. You need an elder law attorney. An elder law attorney is a lawyer who specializes in helping older adults navigate long-term care costs, medical assistance rules, and property protection. You need to call one the absolute second you realize a family member might need full-time care. You don't wait until they're already sitting in a facility bed. You call when they're still at home but struggling. You call when the doctor mentions rehab or dementia. That early call is what saves the house. If your loved one is already in a facility and the money is running out, you still call a lawyer immediately. The lawyer can look at the exact date your loved one entered the nursing home. They can look at the exact dates of any property transfers. They can calculate the exact look-back period for your specific state. They can tell you if there are any legal hardship exceptions available. A hardship exception is when you beg the state to reduce or waive their claim because recovering the money would leave an heir completely homeless and destitute. The rules for hardship exceptions are brutal, and you absolutely need a lawyer to file the paperwork and argue your case in front of a judge. You never try to negotiate a state recovery by yourself. The state employs teams of aggressive attorneys whose only job is to collect this money. The government designed these rules to be rigid. They want the medical assistance program to serve as a safety net for people who are genuinely out of options, not a tool to protect generational wealth for families who can afford to pay out of pocket. That's the cold, hard math of the system. The nursing home doesn't care about your house. They just want their monthly invoice paid. The state medical assistance program pays the invoice, but they act as a silent creditor waiting in the shadows. A creditor is anyone who is owed money. They wait patiently for years, knowing that real estate almost always holds its value, and they'll get their cut when the music stops. If your family is staring down the barrel of nursing home costs, your absolute first move is getting a consultation with a local elder law attorney. Laws change constantly. The exact dollar limits shift every single year, and the local judges in your county have specific ways they handle these cases. You need someone who walks into probate court in your town every single week. This video gives you the vocabulary and the map so you understand the conversation, but the lawyer actually steers the car. Don't rely on a video or a brochure to protect your family home. Get someone who actually knows the exact terrain in your specific zip code. Has anyone in your family ever had to deal with the nightmare of winding down in the state after a long medical stay? Tell me your story down in the comments. If this breakdown gave you the actual map for navigating the terrifying maze of nursing home debt, please pass this video along to a coworker or family member who is currently losing sleep over an aging parent. Make sure you subscribe to Scribble Law so you always know the exact rules of the game before the government tries to use the legal system against your family home.